Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Chiamaka, who is only 21 years old and was unemployed when she took my course in April. And by July had gotten her first digital marketing job, making between $60,000 and $70,000 a year, which is probably one of the highest salaries I've heard of for an entry-level job. Most of my students take about a year to get to that point. But we've been seeing students getting hired at higher and higher pay because the field is growing so much. So anyway, I'm very excited to share her story with you. Thanks for being here, Chiamaka. And am I pronouncing that properly?
Yeah, you're good. Chiamaka, yeah, Chiamaka, you're doing well.
Okay,
Nice.
thank you.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So why don't you tell us a little about your job and where you're working and what it's like?
Okay, so right now I currently work with a company called Thomson Reuters. I work in the find law section and I'm a PPC strategist. So in my position, I have quite a few clients that I communicate with. Sometimes on a daily basis, we go over meetings, we try and figure out exactly what they want for campaigns and ads. And I'm basically the person that comes up with all the ideas, and I have people that work with me to create what the clients want. So that's what I do in my position.
That's great. You said you have people that work with you?
Yeah, I have different teams like PPC coordinators. So like in your course, like how you showed us how to create the ads from step by step, I actually just come up with that outline, and then there's like some teams that go ahead and do the work for me. So there's different parts that we split up. So yeah.
That's incredible. You're like the strategist. You're supervising. Is that
In a sense, yes, sir. Yeah, in a sense.
that's that's incredible, for I guess your first job and given your age. And I'm impressed, again, when I think of most of the, people out there who are 20, 21 years old are not speaking like this. They're not speaking with professional corporate marketing terms and, given this kind of responsibility. So I definitely want to hear more about like how you got to this point. Also, just anyone watching, you mentioned Thomson Reuters, and if you're in my course, Andrea, who was my SEO coach, works there, and I have another student who I just interviewed who works there, and it's 7 a.m. here, and I've forgotten his name.
Orlando.
Orlando, of course. Yes, I'm going to be posting that interview soon. But that is now 3 students at least who have taken the course and work there. That's so exciting. This is guys, Thomson Reuters. This is a big company. I mean, these are legit jobs. This is one of the biggest companies on the planet. And you're working with lawyers, which again, there's always money in that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how did this happen? What were you doing when you found my course? What was going on in your life?
Around the time I found your course, I was actually in the middle of taking a graphic design course at my community college. So I had just previously left my former university, and I kind of wanted to slow down to figure out exactly what I wanted to do for myself and go to school for. And I remember one day on YouTube, I think I was watching an improvement pill video. It was like a really, really old video that he did. And he actually advertised your course, like I think like maybe 10 minutes in. And I was like, oh, I think I've heard of that before. So then I spent like the next 2 weeks on your channel just binging everything and like learning everything I could about digital marketing. I think even before I started the course, I'd initially started taking a Google Ads test just to kind of see if it was going to be interesting to me. So once I was convinced, I was like, okay, these are real people with like real stories, and I can actually reach out to them to see whether they work here or not. That's kind of when I decided to take the course, because I figured, I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I can just learn a skill and just have it with me for a long time. And it ended up doing really well for me. So yeah.
Yeah. So you like a lot of people, you watched the testimonials, you were like, is this legit? I totally get that. Did you actually reach out to some of my students?
No, I was too shy, but the interview.
But you guys can do that if you're watching this. Like said, when you see an interview or even Chiamaka, can students reach out to you?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out to me after, so that's totally okay.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, that's one thing. Again, it's very unique about this course. I really love it. The community of people, who will give you detailed answers. And then I also like that you took it upon yourself to learn a little bit about digital marketing. As I tell people, of course, 99% of the people that come in have like zero knowledge of digital marketing when they take my course. But it's if you have questions like, oh, am I going to like it? It's good to do a little bit of just Googling and see the whole idea of it. Like if you hate computers and you hate ads, you probably shouldn't do it. But I think most people, especially in your generation, are just, you grew up with this stuff, so it's very natural. So why don't you tell us about the process of what happened when you took the course and how that led to this job?
Okay, so I started the course in April, and I did exactly what you suggested, which is to just go through the whole course the first time, watching everything without taking notes. So I think I did that in about a week. I went through all the videos, and then the next week is when I started going through the course, taking as many notes as I could. I think I went through the course about 3.5 times. So like I spent basically the whole month of April, it was just nothing but the course. And then in May was when I went back to do all the assignments that you had, like the PPC spreadsheet and then the SEO stuff, and then building the website and everything. That's what I spent May doing. And then I would do revision. And then in June, I just went through everything again just to make sure I had it right. And then I spent like 2 straight weeks doing nothing but applying to jobs. And that was when I finally heard from Thomson Reuters. So yeah.
That's it. I mean, you followed the directions, and it sounds like you also had that commitment. You've heard every interview, guys. If you've been like binge watching these interviews, you hear it again and again. Everybody who's been successful has watched the course multiple times. You have to really commit, really absorb everything. You listen to things over and over again. That's the type of mindset that leads to success with anything. Anyone I've ever heard interviewed in whether it's art or music or business, they're always the people that are just saturating themselves with it. You can't just be like, well, I watched a couple of videos and didn't work. You have to really commit. So it's not only a couple of weeks of applying for jobs. That's pretty awesome. And what was it like? Were you getting responses? Were you getting interviews before, as well as the one that you ended up getting?
Yeah, I did have quite a few responses, but I definitely got a lot more no's than yeses. But it wasn't too bad of an experience, and it was really good because I did have a lot of phone interviews, and then there were some companies I got all the way up to a third interview. So those ones, it was really good for practice at least. So it didn't make me feel too bad because I knew at the end of the day, if I keep persisting, I'm gonna eventually get that job I'm looking for. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And we'll get to the job in a second. But I mean, what you're describing is really valuable for people because, like, as you said, you want to look at all the interviews in any field you're in, guys, whether you do digital marketing or not. Interviews are practice. If you look at it like that, you'll have such a better time in your job interview. Most people are so stressed out. I'm doing a whole new video training on interviews because I really want to get people to this right mindset. But like, if you walk in there and you're just like excited about the possibility and you look at it as a learning experience, you're going to have a great time. If you walk in there and you're like, oh my God, I have to get this job or I'm going to die, you're not going to have a good time. But let me just focus in on something for people here. How old are you again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
21.
Okay, so you're 21. And so you didn't have a big job history, did you?
No, I think my first job before that was working at Publix, and that was just like a couple months prior, so not a big job history.
Okay, so you worked at Publix. Isn't that a grocery store?
Yeah, it's a grocery store in the South.
So were you like a cashier?
Yeah, I was a bagger, so
A
nothing
bagger.
crazy.
Okay, maybe I'll put that in the title. Oh my God. So you only had done that for a couple of months. So guys, I mean, you've seen it again and again. This is not a field where you need to come in with a ton of experience. I mean, 21 years old, almost no work history, and the work you did have was working at a grocery store. That's pretty awesome. Again, that speaks to the power of these skills. So let's get into the job itself. How did it go with Thomson Reuters? So you apply to this job. It's a huge company. Reuters, by the way, guys, is like when you see news, those news feeds, that's Reuters. So it's a huge company. And you're this 21-year-old with no work experience. How did that go?
It went actually pretty well. So I think by the time I applied to them, I saw the company name and I remember hearing it from the course, but I was like, oh, but I don't know if that's the same exact company he talks about, but I'm gonna look at what they have to offer and just apply anyways. And I think in the description, it asks for somebody with 2 years of customer service and then 2 years plus experience of digital marketing. And I was like, okay, well, I got this. Like, I know what I'm talking about. So I went and I applied. I think I had an interview about 2 days later. And the interview, it was like a technical interview. So they had like a lot of different scenarios and questions written out for me to answer. And I think I had to take about 45 minutes to answer all the questions. Then I came back for the previous interview and then we went over every answer. And then after that, they just went through my resume, asked me questions like, oh, how many clients have you had before this? And at the time of the interview, I'd only had about 8 clients. And the position that I have right now, you have to have 46 clients. So they actually seemed to like the fact that I knew a lot of what I was talking about to be able to trust me with that amount of responsibility. So it's been going pretty well so far. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you about a couple of things. Well, first of all, you saw the 2 years of experience. You weren't intimidated. That's the biggest thing I say every month when I do those walkthrough videos. Again, guys, you're going to hear it again and again. The job posting says 2 years experience. You don't turn away and go, oh, I don't have 2 years experience. You go, I know what I'm talking about. They need people. I can get this job. But also, I'm curious. You said you had 8 clients. How did you have 8 clients before?
So I did freelancing on Upwork for a little bit during the course. Around the time I was like building the website, I was doing like Google Ads freelancing. So that's where I got my clients from.
Okay, that's a good detail. And that's, again, something I teach in the course, which is to get clients, they can be free clients, or were these paid clients?
Some of them were paid. I think about 4 of them, and then the rest of them were free. So
that's awesome. And again, in the course, a lot of my students come back and share their experiences and how they got the clients and things like that. And again, the more clients, we've had people get jobs where they, they had no clients, or they were just working on their own website. I was one of those people back in 2011. I had no clients, but I got hired. But there's actually having that much initiative and that much experience, even in 2 or 3 months, actually helps me understand why they hired you and why they hired you at that salary. So how was it? I remember you sent me the email. Like, how did it go when you got the job offer? What was that like for you?
It was honestly like such a surreal moment. Honestly, sometimes still I can't even believe like I worked for such a huge, renowned company. But it went really well. Like everybody was really, really welcoming. All of the hiring managers and my senior manager right now, everybody has just been so welcoming and so nice. So it was a really, really good experience. And I know my siblings were very, very excited, and my mom and dad were as well. So everybody was really, really excited. It was really fun.
Yeah, I was excited too. I remember you told me you were shocked.
Yeah, I really was, because I never experienced anything like that before. To even think about like how much more money like I could actually start saving before, because I think when I worked at Publix, I was just making like $9 an hour. So that was definitely a huge jump for me as well.
Oh my God. Yeah. You're making more than twice. I mean, it's really awesome. It's really awesome. You guys have no idea how far ahead you are. And since you're not in college, right?
No, I'm not.
Right. And by the way, so did they ask you about your degree? Did they care?
No, they didn't. They didn't ask at all. It wasn't even like on the requirements. So
guys, this is it. If you're watching this, you're like so far ahead. Whether you take my course or not, if you even see a person like this who has taken this kind of initiative, gone outside of the box, outside conventional thinking, and had this kind of result, you are ahead of everybody else out there. There are 21-year-olds across the country are $80,000 in debt. They don't know anything about marketing. They don't have any skills. And you are just like, working at this great job that you got 3 months after taking the course. So I'm so happy for you. What's it been like since you've been working there?
It's been really well. I think I spent about the first 3 weeks in training. So they just kind of went through and taught me everything about all the programs that we use. But so far it's been good. Right now I'm sitting at about 46 clients. So, and everybody's like a totally different character, but it's really awesome trying to figure out how to use the skills that I learned with coming up with PPC strategies in the course, being able to actually implement it with my job is actually really rewarding. So it's been a really good experience.
That's so great. Are you dealing with lawyers?
Yes, I am. Lawyers, attorneys, law firms. Yeah, I am.
That's so funny you're getting. I mean, that's an interesting networking experience. 21 years old, you're dealing with lawyers who are probably twice your age, or, you know, it's just an interesting professional connection you don't normally make when you're, your age. And you're managing their advertising, which is incredible. And so you're getting a lot of support at the job?
Yes, I am. I have most strategists were all assigned to a mentor usually. And so my mentor has definitely been there for me every time I've needed him, and also the higher managers and everything. Everybody's very, very supportive. And so it's really easy to communicate and get the help whenever you need it.
That's so great. Yeah, guys, again, you don't be intimidated. These companies, you've heard it again and again, they will provide support. They want to see that you have what it takes. They want to see how you think. They want to see that you have the skills and the knowledge. And then most of them, I mean, they're not just going to throw you $5 million and say, good luck, kid. Hope you make us some money. There's going to be a support system or a team in place. Any good company is going to be like that. What's it been like for you personally since getting this job in terms of your personal life?
I would say personally, it's just made me realize that I'm not as behind as I thought. Just because once I kind of left school, I was just kind of thinking, okay, well, what should I be using the rest of my time doing? Because, I just didn't want to like fall behind and not have anything for myself. So being able to see that I learned a skill, like this huge priceless skill in the matter of months, and was able to secure a high paying job for myself actually made me really, really proud of myself and everything, because I never really achieved anything like that before. So it was really great to experience this. And then now too, it's like I can travel, hang out with friends, because it's not as much of a strain on my pockets as it used to be. So it's definitely really great opportunity.
That's amazing. I want to ask you more questions, but I just want people to sit with that for a second, guys. You thought you were behind. This happens to so many of my students. Like, it's such a great, almost like spiritual leap. Like you're true to yourself and you say, college isn't for me. You go against the grain. Everyone tells you, maybe it didn't happen with you. A lot of times people will say, you're making a mistake. You're throwing your future away. All this crap. It's just lies. And then you see the truth, which is that you're actually, not only are you not behind, you're ahead of all these people your age. You're so far ahead. At your current salary, it means that within a year or two, you could be leveling up to six figures. You will. It's just physics, guys. This isn't like hoping or like, oh, I'm gonna, like hype. This is literally like you managing 46 attorney clients for a huge multinational corporation. And you're making this particular salary, you will naturally be recruited and move upward. So I think it's absolutely amazing. And also, is the job in-house or remote?
It's remote. I've been working at home for the last 4 months right now. So.
And how do you like working remotely?
It's definitely a different experience. I just had to get used to logging into Microsoft Teams, but it's definitely not as bad sometimes waking up in my pajamas to do work. So it's definitely good.
It's really, really great. And I love that you can travel and you have that flexibility. And that's the other thing, guys. I mean, the way you're set up in life, I just always repeat this, like you're set up to be, you spend your whole life in high school and then you stressed out in college. And then most people are in this, they're just in they call it the rat race. I mean, literally you're just like on a treadmill, just running around 9 to 5. Your entire day is used up with the commute, and you're not making much money and all that stuff. And you're like working from home in your pajamas, making a good salary, doing stuff you enjoy. And you do enjoy it, right?
Yeah, I do. I really do. It's definitely a great learning experience. So I definitely enjoy it.
That's so great. Well, listen, thanks so much for sharing your story. I hope this inspires other people, whether you're young or old, wherever you are, you just see the power of these skills. Is there anything else you'd like to say to me or anybody watching the interview?
I would just like to say to you, thank you honestly for your course. I can definitely say that coming back to your channels to watch the interviews was really inspiring throughout, but also you were really, really motivational throughout the course every time you learned a new skill. So thank you so much. Honestly, this is an experience I don't think I'll ever forget. So, and I would say it to anybody watching this, if you definitely don't know, it's definitely okay to try. Just at least learn a new skill. It's not going to hurt. So it can definitely benefit you in the end. So that's all I would like to say. Thank you.
You're so welcome. My pleasure. And I appreciate you sharing, and it warms my heart when I hear these stories. And so yeah, so it's been great chatting with you. Guys, if you're watching this, again, you can always feel free to reach out to my students. You can definitely, I'll put your LinkedIn below the video if that's okay.
That's fine. That's
Okay. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, guys, a lot is possible if you think differently and get these skills. So thanks again, Chiamaka, for being here, and we'll follow up with you. We will talk again soon.
We will. Thank you so much. Thank you.